If Earth was twice as small, what would happen to us? Well, if our planet was suddenly shrunk in half, we'd probably be in for some serious pain. From crazy weather to mass extinction, here are 5 ways that Earth would change if it was twice as small. Number 5, gravity. If Earth got any smaller, gravity would be a lot different. The force of gravity depends on the mass of the planet, and the distance between objects on Earth's surface. Since Earth's mass would stay the same but its radius would be reduced by half, gravity would actually get twice as strong. That means if you weighed 150 pounds before, you'd weigh a whopping 300 pounds after Earth's shrinkage. But this extra weight would be a problem for astronauts in space. Since they orbit Earth from a relatively close distance away, they wouldn't be too affected by the change in gravity. But when they try to leave orbit and land back on Earth, they'll have a much harder time getting through the atmosphere because of the increased gravity. In fact, they might not be able to land at all and would instead be burnt up by the atmosphere. 4. Atmosphere. Speaking of atmospheres, if Earth was twice as small, our protective ozone layer would also shrink, leaving us more vulnerable to the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays. Not only that, but Earth's atmosphere would become much thinner. And while a thinner atmosphere might sound like a good thing since it could prevent clouds, and therefore rain from forming, it would actually make it so that clouds and rain would form even more frequently. A thinner atmosphere would mean less heat is trapped near Earth's surface, so it would be much colder on Earth's surface. All of the water vapor in the atmosphere would also be closer to the surface, meaning that clouds and rain would form more often. This would lead to some serious flooding. And if you think we can just move somewhere else, think again. If Earth was twice as small, Mars would also be twice as small. In fact, all the other planets in the solar system would be twice as small too, so there's no escaping this miniature planet scenario, unless we somehow shrink the sun too. 3. Oceans. Water covers over 70% of Earth's surface. But if our planet was twice as small, all those oceans would cover only half as much land. Each ocean would be about 1/3 the volume it is now. And what happens when you remove a bunch of water from Earth's surface? Well, the water cycle would slow down. There would simply be less water vapor in the atmosphere, which would mean less cloud and rain formation. Plus, with Earth's gravity increasing, water would evaporate more slowly, so we'd experience less rain and an increase in dry land. Some areas would become deserts, while others would be completely underwater. So while we might not have to worry about rising sea levels anymore, we will have to deal with rising temperatures as the poles, which are covered in ice, get significantly colder. 2. Volcanoes. If Earth was twice as small, volcanoes would erupt much more often. Why? Because the pressure inside Earth's core would be twice as great. And that's a big deal, because the pressure is what keeps Earth from collapsing in on itself. So higher pressure deep inside Earth could cause more frequent volcanic eruptions. And speaking of what's inside Earth, our tectonic plates would also move more frequently and with greater speed. That's because the intense heat deep within Earth's core would spread to the crust more quickly. This would cause all sorts of chaos on Earth's surface, from earthquakes to volcanic eruptions to rifts and mountain ranges shifting. 1. Life. With all these changes to Earth's climate, weather, and geography, you can bet that life as we know it would not be able to survive. It's likely that most, if not all, species on Earth would go extinct, leaving only the hardiest microbes and a few insects behind. Mammals would be especially hard hit since they need to maintain a certain body temperature to survive. Smaller mammals would die off first, followed by larger ones. In short, if Earth was twice as small, it's very likely that we would die too.